Am I the a-hole for calling my brother's girlfriend disgusting and refusing to meet her? Alright, I feel like I'm going mad here. I, 27 female, recently had a very unpleasant encounter with my brother's 32 male new girlfriend, 21 female, that has culminated in the family getting dragged into it. We'll call her Anne. He's been with Anne for about 5 months, but I've never met her for various reasons from both of our ends. He said he wanted to get to know her properly before introducing her to us all, and I made a crack along the lines of, yeah, well, 12 years old are known to be unpredictable, which made him sulk for a while too. I probably shouldn't have said that, but the age gap is weird to me. I met up with him a few weeks ago for coffee because we don't have restrictions anymore. The topic of Anne came up briefly, but he just said they were still together and he liked her. So I was coming around to the idea that maybe I should stop being a judgmental a-hole and just meet her. After, I went back to my car to grab my plastic bags and then back into town. For clarity, it's a small town center with a dedicated car park, so it's all in one place. After about an hour, I came back to my car and it was messed up. It had been scratched and a drink thrown over it. But the worst thing was someone had smeared blood in my driver door and literally shoved a used feminine hygiene product in the door handle. It was revolting. I had to go back and buy rubber gloves and bleach just to get back into my car. I got home and I got a text from my brother. He said Anne had confronted him when he got home after his cheating, and she thought I was the other woman and had vandalized my car. He said she was really upset and wanted to apologize to me in person and give me flowers. I said that even if I had been some other woman, that what she did was disgusting, and she was nuts. I said I never wanted to meet her and I expected payment for cleaning and damages. For the last 2 weeks, it's been this revolving door of my family calling me and telling me to let her apologize, me letting them know exactly what she did, and them mostly agreeing with me in the end. Then I'd get messages from my brother telling me to stop telling people what happened, because it was embarrassing Anne. I have some aunts who are mad at me for even telling them, make it make sense, and her family are of course livid with me, not to mention my brother. It's just so much noise in my head that I'm starting to think I should just drop it, because I have repaired the damage and had it cleaned. I've sent my brother the bill but not gotten anything from him yet, because he says I've done emotional damage to Anne. I think it was emotional damaging to have to see what she did to my car, but in the off chance that I've gone mad and I'm overreacting, tell me, am I the a-hole for calling my brother's girlfriend disgusting and never wanting to meet her because of what she did to my car? Now for the top comments. She attacked you, and you somehow emotionally damaged her? Tell him he is disgusting. It was very emotionally damaging to Anne that I told people how she emotionally damaged me by making my car a biohazard. Yes. Have you brought up the fact that you can press charges for this? Or that you didn't explain what happened to people until after your brother and Anne told them how unforgiving you are? Not the a-hole. She vandalized your car in a particularly nasty way. None of that is mitigated by her thinking your brother was cheating. That was just crazy and hinged behavior. You're not interested in meeting a crazy and hinged person, which is fair. This is what I've tried to communicate to him. Even if he was cheating, what she did still wouldn't have been okay. Not only are you not the a-hole, but your initial joke about 12-year-olds was spot on with regard to Anne. What a disaster of a human. Not the a-hole. The age gap is weird as hell and she sounds freaking disgusting. The used tampon is repulsive, and the fact your brother stayed with her after all this says a lot about him. Is he gross also? He's not gross. I mean, hygienically speaking. It baffles me as well. I can't even imagine the logistics of how she yanked it out in the middle of the car park. She just seems unstable, among other words. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for refusing to show my brother and his soon-to-be wife what my girlfriend has chosen to wear at their wedding? My male 30 brother, male 32, and his fiancée, female 26, are getting married at the end of the month. My girlfriend, female 32, is my +1. We've been together for 6 months, and she's great. Yesterday, I was at my brother's to help him set up new shelves in the kitchen. That's when he told me his fiancée had a request. The fiancé asked me what my girlfriend is planning to wear on the wedding, because, honestly, she's dresses provocatively and she might wear something inappropriate. She asked me if it was okay that we showed her, the bride, my girlfriend's outfit for approval. I'm aware about weddings demanding a certain dress code and that there's a lot of rules involved, but I was a bit shocked about her request. I thought it to be a bit disrespectful, to be honest. My girlfriend is a very beautiful woman who loves fashion. I haven't noticed that she's ever been inappropriate. Maybe she likes the mini dress and a low back occasionally, but it has been in the right environment, like on a night out or a date with me. Otherwise, she's very modest, barely wears makeup. Plus, she knows fashion and she's probably aware of the rules of weddings. I didn't feel the bride's request was okay, so I told her no way that I'm going to ask my girlfriend that. The bride got a bit sulky and didn't talk much to me the rest of the evening. I went to my girlfriend afterwards for dinner, and while we were preparing, we started talking about the wedding. I asked her if she had bought something for the wedding, and she said she didn't have to. She had a lot of dresses, and she already chosen one. Show me, and she did. She's chosen an olive green midi dress with high collar. It was perfect. I texted my brother and soon-to-be wife that the dress was modest, so they could chill. This morning, the bride called me asking me to send her a picture of the dress. Huh? What are you still on about? No, I saw the dress. It's perfect. You should take my word for it. She was raging mad, crying that I'm trying to ruin her wedding. Are you going to ask all 150 guests to send you pictures of their outfits for approval? No, only your girlfriend likes wearing sluttish outfits. I hung up. I texted my brother that my girlfriend didn't need to come to the wedding since the relationship was new. And when they sent the save dates, I was still single, so it just said +1. He texted me back saying I'm a prick. Soon-to-be sister-in-law also texted me calling me a prick. Here's where I might have been an a-hole. I could have just sent a picture to calm them down, but I didn't, because what they're asking is a bit hurtful. And even if I did it behind girlfriend's back to avoid hurting her feelings, it's still disrespectful to sneak around. They should have just trusted my judgment. So, am I the a-hole? Edit. I was asked to include this in my post. My girlfriend wore a very revealing dress on my 30th birthday. That was the first and only time my sister-in-law and my girlfriend met. It was a designer dress, Miu Miu, that cost $4,000 that my girlfriend could borrow from one of her stylist friends. She was so happy because she would never afford a dress like that. And honestly, I was happy for totally different reasons I will keep to myself. That dress is probably the start of this scrap storm. I still can't understand a bride since these are two very different occasions. Not stay home. You did right. As a woman, I would be very offended if someone took a picture of my outfit like that and approved it behind my back. You respected your girlfriend's privacy while attempting to defuse the situation with a bride-to-be. It's not your fault that they disagree. I think the only thing the bride could have asked would be what color the dress is, or if she doesn't want the usual no-no colors, white, off-whites, and black. I agree. Making sure the dress wasn't white or something similar I think would be appropriate. Hope he did his girlfriend a solid. I'm glad he appreciates her for her. Oops, bride is jealous of your girlfriend's beauty. Sounds like she's insecure. Should she be getting married? Not stay home. Not stay home, but you should have had a conversation with your brother, asking why she has such low self-esteem that she needs to ask you that. And you were right to call her out on her behavior. She's being a bridezilla. Next story. Am I the a-hole for getting mad when my soon-to-be husband want to change our honeymoon to family vacation? My boyfriend 33 and I 22 will get married in 4 months. We're planning our wedding ourselves and discussed everything including our honeymoon. The first few months ago, he said he wanted to change our honeymoon to family vacation so his parents and my mom can get along and knew each other more. I agreed, so we were researching where to go and for how long. But a few weeks after that, he said he doesn't want to bring his family because his relationship with them is kinda rough. I agreed again and researching again honeymoon plan for just the two of us. Everything went fine until a few days ago I was shopping with my soon-to-be mother-in-law. And on the ride home, my boyfriend asked her if she wants to join our honeymoon. I was shocked and mad, but I stayed silent. After we drop off her mom, I asked him how if my mom doesn't want to go with us. My mom really said she doesn't want to. And he said it's okay and we can just go with his family. It really bothered me, but because we have planned to meet his friend after, I just keep it to myself to not ruin the mood. After I went home, I texted him, said that I'm mad about that sudden change and ranted a bit, as usual every time I'm angry. Then he gets mad as well because he thinks I'm making a big deal of not so important thing. In the end, we both get mad and giving each other silent treatment until now. I'm not mad because he changed the plan. I'm mad because he didn't tell me first before asking his mom. I still think I have the right to get mad, but also feeling guilty for making fuss about something small. So am I the a-hole? Now for the comments before reading the little update. Not the a-hole, but do not marry this man. You are too young and the age gap is too big. Worse than that though, he does not respect you and would happily put his family's desires above yours even in the context of a wedding, which should be entirely about the two of you. If he will do this now, what else might he deprioritize you in? Think about this carefully. Look at Opie's previous post about relationship problems with a guy for Pete's sake. In that post made 6 months ago, she admits there are age gap related issues, as well as enough relationship issues for her to potentially consider him an ex. She admits that maybe they shouldn't be together but have talked about marriage in the past. All it seems is he might have noticed she was realizing he isn't good for her. He instead proposes and now she feels probably more confused than ever. Opie, there are reasons guys who are in their 30s date women in their early 20s. It is because they are still very malleable to the whims of their partner and tend not to have enough relationship experience to be able to tell what red flag behavior is, manipulation and mistreatment, or feel confident enough to stand up for themselves and know they shouldn't be treated that way. You knew 6 months ago it should be over. Do not marry this guy. He clearly doesn't value you the way he should. Not stay home. I would be more mad about him constantly changing the plan and not consulting you. It's just so annoying. And if I'm being honest, a bit of a red flag. He's forcing you into situations that you don't want to be in, taking advantage of the fact that you can't make a scene in public. Yes, it's annoying. It is not the first time he did it. It happens also to things like the rings at a pre-wedding photo shoot. I usually just accept it and going with whatever he's happy about. He's a really nice man, I promised. It's just some of his flaws. I just feel kinda a-hole as I know there is a better way to discuss it with him and not get mad and ranting. Not a-hole. Why does he think he gets to decide this alone? Maybe the same reason he can't find someone his own age to marry. He needs someone younger to boss around. He is too old for you. GTFO. Source. Have been 22, have also been 33. Update. Hi everyone. I don't expect this is gonna blow up and have so many comments. Thank you for your concern and advice. I appreciate it so much. And I'm sorry I can't read and reply to everyone's comments. For everyone who's asking, I met my boyfriend when I'm already 20. So no, I'm not being groomed. But thank you for your concern. For everyone who's reminding me that what he's doing is red flag, yes, I know it sounds so bad. But I think everyone on a relationship know there's a lot of crap that if you tell everyone just from your perspective, it will sound really bad. It's just one of many things in a relationship, I guess. He's not perfect and neither am I. I also know my relationship isn't perfect nor ideal, but we love each other and we will keep working on from there. Now, I know I'm not a-hole for getting mad, so I'll talk to him again with more confidence and wish we can make up and be better. Once again, thank you for all the kind and not so kind advice. Wishing you all have a really nice day. Last story. Am I the a-hole for upstaging my grandma at her wedding? I'm 28 female, maternal grandma 71 female. This past weekend, she got married to her boyfriend of a couple years. This is her 5th wedding, which I mentioned not to judge but because it's relevant later on. The last time she got married, I was a junior in high school and wore a cranberry strapless dress that my grandma purchased for me, very much in line with the cocktail dress code. I didn't try to do this, but in hindsight, I wore makeup that was too much for a wedding. I just wore what I would normally do, toned down smoky eye, eyeliner, and a nude lip. One of the granddaughters of the husband she was marrying then pulled me aside and told me I did too much and that I should wipe the makeup off before the photos. I was extremely embarrassed. The only other wedding I had ever been to was when I was 6, so at the time I had no idea of the etiquette and was mortified that I had broken it. I ended up wiping off the eyeliner, replacing the eyeshadow with a nude eyeshadow, and putting on a clear chapstick. For this wedding, my grandma reminded me that I should do a very toned-down look and not upstage her at his wedding. These days, I don't wear nearly as much makeup as I used to, so I went with my daily makeup routine. BB cream and a light concealer, a nude cream blush, some light mascara that was dark brown instead of black, and a sheer/glossy pinky nude lipstick. I paired this with a navy blue dress that I tried my best to match my grandma's request that the dress code is in between casual and cocktail. My grandma didn't say anything about how I looked during the wedding, nor did anyone else, so I assumed I did a good job of making sure she was still on the spotlight. However, today she got some of the photos back from her friend who was taking them. She said that I was the standout in all of the photos, and it was a very tacky move to try to get all of the attention on me when it was her wedding. I apologized and said I tried to be as toned down as possible while still looking presentable. She said a right move would have been to wear no makeup at all and wear a more conservative pantsuit. At the time that I got this call, I was with my paternal grandmother. They do not get along the slightest. Paternal grandma told maternal grandma that it was unreasonable to expect me to dress frumpy to please her, and that she had 3 sets of wedding photos for weddings before I was even born, that she could look back on to be the star of the show if she wanted. This led to maternal grandma telling me she wished to take a break from speaking to me for a while, so I could reflect on my selfish actions. I feel really bad. I didn't mean to wreck a special day for her, and in hindsight, maybe I should have approved my dress and makeup with her before the wedding. So I thought I'd get some feedback here to see if I'm the a-hole / if what I did is selfish. Not the a-hole for either of her weddings. You do not owe her an apology. You did nothing wrong. She's ridiculous. It's not dissimilar to people who tear others down to feel better about themselves. That's essentially what she wants to do to her friends. Direct them to be lesser so she feels better about herself. Not on. Sounds like maternal grandma's jealous of how youthful and pretty Opie is. Not a-hole. Not a-hole. A woman in their 20s wearing no makeup and a burlap sack would upstage a 70-year-old. There is no way to avoid it. She can get over herself. Yep, I'm reading this thinking Granny is mad that Opie exists. In a conservative pantsuit with no makeup? Per request. A 20-something woman is going to outshine any 70-year-old women, except probably Oprah and Madonna. But we can't be sure because they're not 70 yet. OP, please info. Do you happen to resemble your grandma when she was younger? I actually think I look nothing like this grandma. I look like the spitting image of my paternal grandma and her mom though. It's almost uncanny. If I felt more comfortable sharing photos, I would.
Am I the a-hole for refusing to forgive my brother for sleeping with my now ex-girlfriend after my accident and for refusing him closure? I, 33 male, was in an accident when I was 22 years old. It was nearly fatal, and I suffered a TBI as a result. I had been dating Jessie, 33 female, for 5.5 years at that point, and she was at the hospital with my family, including my older brother Cameron, 35 male. Soon after the accident, Jessie found out she was pregnant and terminated with Cameron's help. A while after that, they started having an affair. My sister caught them and forced them to tell me when I recovered enough. Jessie eventually confessed, but she acted like we were going to work through it. I made it clear that would never happen, and I told her I never wanted to see her again, and that I wouldn't be going back to our place ever again. Cameron tried to shame me for that, but I kicked him out and refused to see him. Our sister let him know he was dead to me and that I'd never forgive him for it. For a while, he let me work on recovery, but he tried to make amends or whatever. I rejected it, and then I found out he and Jessie were together and expecting a baby. The whole thing made recovery so much worse, and my sister was honestly the best support and the only person I fully trusted through it all. My parents wanted me to work things out with Cameron and Jessie. They wanted us to be a family, and I just couldn't deal with them trying to force me into that. after the way I'd been treated. My sister had to be my advocate at times when I couldn't do it myself. I'm back to normal now, but had a health scare last year in the run-up to my wedding. It was stress-related. Cameron found out about the health scare in April, and he asked our sister for my contact details. She refused to give them, so he started showing up at her house until he caught me and my wife there. He was demanding answers about why nobody let him know sooner about the health scare, and why I wouldn't let her share my details. He said we needed to put this to bed once and for all and get closure. I told him I needed no closure, and because he was digging in his heels, I decided to tell him to get lost one more time for good measure. He told me he and Jesse both need my forgiveness, and that they need me in their lives because their kids ask questions and it sucks not having answers. I told him I'll never forgive them, never let them back into my life, and screw him for putting his kids' questions on anyone but him and Jesse. I told him I'll never give him the comfort of closure. I said he should try being in my position 11 years ago, and then have the people who stomped all over you try to demand forgiveness and closure. I told him to get over himself. My sister had to call the police to make him leave. He would not go. She heard from him afterward, and he was ranting at her that I was willing to die spiting them and it's wrong, and if I'm happy, I should move on and forgive, etc. She blocked him and told our parents she is completely done with Cameron too. They're so upset over what happened, and they asked me if there was nothing that could be done to make me forgive. They said they hated keeping my health scare from Cameron and would hate for him to miss out on saying goodbye if the worst happened to me. I told them he should have thought about that before everything. They begged me to be more loving. I admit it pisses me off that they want to brush this all away and for us to play pretend. But am I the a-hole because I won't actually work on forgiving and allowing them closure? Now for the top comments. Your sister is a star. The termination of the pregnancy. Was it yours or his? It's not really clear. Yes, she is. And I'm so glad she found out. Otherwise, I could have lived in the dark and raised Cameron's kid not realizing. The pregnancy she terminated was mine, but with Cameron's help. He took her to the clinic, etc. And the affair started after that. Such a romantic way to fall in love. Not the a-hole. What exactly do they want you to do? Tell the kids how their parents cheated, that their mom actually been pregnant with their cousin, which led to said cheating, and that you hate their parents' guts? Like, what exactly do they think would be smart about forcing a relationship? You owe them crap, and your parents show clear favoritism. That they still don't understand why 2 of their kids now is no contact. They expect me to be the loving uncle, brother, and brother-in-law, and to act like the past never happened. But you don't forget stuff like that. Nor should you. Get a restraining order on that a-hat of a brother, so you can be completely done with him. No one is entitled to forgiveness. Your brother's a special kind of POS. How entitled his brother is to feel he needs health updates on OP when he cheated on him with his girlfriend when he was literally in the worst health condition of his life. What a prick. Next story. Am I the a-hole for buying my granddaughter's school supplies instead of paying towards my stepson's back child support? I'm 52 female, have been married to my husband for 8 years. We both have adult children from previous relationships. My stepson is 31, is sort of shiftless in employment. He works sometimes, works for cash, works out of state on temporary jobs, etc. He's never worked a regular steady job. He generally does odd jobs until he falls behind in all his bills. Then he takes a temporary job, usually construction out of state. He'll hire on with a crew remodeling Walmarts or doing a plant turnaround. Don't ask, because I have no idea what that means. And make like $2,500 a week, but the job only lasts 4 to 6 weeks. He gets caught up on bills and goes back to doing odd jobs until he falls behind again. He has an 11-year-old that he sees sometimes, depending on his work schedule. He's $2,000 behind in child support and paying enough every month to keep it from getting turned over to enforcement. Our granddaughter called me and asked me to buy her school stuff. I took her shopping and got her clothes, shoes, school jacket, PE uniform, and supplies. My stepson was cleaning the pool, we pay him, when we got home, and helped us unload the stuff from my car. After her mom picked her up, he approached me and asked how much I spent. I didn't keep track, so I didn't know right off. He was annoyed and said it had to be close to $1,000, which is half of what he owes in back child support. My stepson thinks I'm an a-hole because I didn't pay the money towards his back child support and let her mom take her shopping, because that's what child support is for. My husband has no opinion about it. I think his child support is his responsibility, and if I want to buy my granddaughter nicer things than her parents can afford, that's got nothing to do with him owing her basic support. Her mom appreciates that I buy things she can't afford to provide. She's used to the way he pays support, knows she can't count on it for monthly expenses, but also knows she'll eventually get it and uses it for big, once-in-a-while expenses, like new tires for her car. Info. Just want to make sure I'm reading this right. The grandchild you're talking about is the stepson's child, and he's mad that you bought his child school supplies and clothes? If that's right, he's completely freaking ridiculous, and you are not the a-hole in any kind of way. Also, I think it's great you have accepted her as your grandchild and treat her like your own granddaughter. Yes, we are talking about my stepson's child. He thinks I should have paid the money towards his back child support, and then her mother could have taken her to get school supplies with the money. They didn't really see her at all until I started getting her. I literally just knocked on her door, introduced myself, explained that I had married stepson's dad, and that I was interested in establishing a relationship with stepson's daughter. She was almost 4 then. Of course, her mom was cautious at first, but it didn't take long for her to feel comfortable with me. I pick her up when I want, keep her for whole weekends, take her on week-long vacations, out-of-state cruises out of the county, half-days on holidays. My in-laws swear she intentionally kept them away, but I have always found her to be extremely reasonable. Wanna bet that the minute his kid no longer has mandated child support, stepson gets a full-time job? His bad behavior and choices are not on you. Part of being an adult is paying your debts. You did something nice for his kid. The only words out of his mouth should have been, "Thank you." I think they call that retroactive child support, and mom can keep him on the hook for however long it takes. He's a damn fool to think she isn't gonna get a payday eventually. True story. My baby daddy played that game and still owes over $20,000, and our kid just turned 21. And it's probably not mom keeping him on the hook. That's usually done through a government agency that keeps track. And when he stops paying, they put him on a watch list to screen for new employment without waiting for him to notify them. So, you've stepped up as a grandmother more than her own father has stepped up for her. Honestly, your stepson can suck it. Keep being a good grandmom. I actually missed my daughter who grew up and wanted a little girl to spoil. It's good for her, but I like having her around, so it's good for me too. Next story. Am I the a-hole for running away because my parents were late to my graduation over a labubu? Okay, I know this sounds ridiculous and insane. I, 18 female, am adopted and was adopted as a baby. My parents thought they couldn't have kids, even tried IVF. So when my sister Princess, 10 female, was born, it was a miracle. Everything changed. Princess was spoiled and clearly the favorite. She never got in trouble, was always right, got whatever she wanted, and acted however she wanted. My parents did treat me badly though, but if I got 1 toy, Princess got 5. It sucked. I was jealous, and I got in trouble for it. Princess got worse around age 6 when she realized how much she could get away with. She broke my things, hurt others, stole, and hated when anyone else had attention. I became a target. Luckily, I had friends, school, and relatives for support, so it wasn't the worst. I did great in school and joined clubs and sports just to stay out of the house. During the summer, I worked or interned just to avoid her. Now I have a car and a boyfriend since sophomore year. I stay with him a lot and his family loves me, so I'm barely home, maybe 24 hours at most weekly. My parents didn't care, and this was my normal, so I stopped caring too. Anyway, graduation was last month, one of the few things I asked my parents to come to. I was excited, they seemed excited, and some relatives came too. But Princess had to ruin it. See, her current obsession is these doll plush keychains called labubus. She collects them, and on that specific day, she found this super rare one for sale in our city. Now, instead of contacting the seller and buying it the next day, my parents went to get it. And not only that, they spent $350. My graduation gift was $150 for comparison. Then they showed up so late our caps were already being tossed. I was hurt. After graduation, I ignored them and went home with my boyfriend. I've basically moved in with him at this point, since any time I went back home, it was to get my things to go back. My parents called, texted, apologized, even came over and begged me to forgive them. The worst part of it all, they think it's about the money and sent me another $100. But I refused to talk to them. Now it's serious, as they're threatening to report me as missing and a runaway and contact my future college if I don't go back home. I feel justified in my actions and don't think it's that serious. But am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. You are a high school graduate and a legal adult. You didn't run away, you simply moved out. Tell your parents to have fun reporting you. The only thing they might have a case on is the car. Who is the legal title holder? Same thing happened to me. My folks missed my grad brunch for my sister's cheer thing. I didn't even get mad, just stopped showing up. Keep your boundaries solid. You're not being dramatic. You're just done being the afterthought. Respect. Real talk, bro. That hits hard. When you stop showing up, they finally feel what you've been dealing with the whole time. It's not even about being petty. It's just knowing your worth and moving different. Mad respect for choosing peace over chasing validation. Not the a-hole. You're 18. You're no longer a minor. Even if they tell the police your exact location, the most the police will do is ask if you left willingly. Thank you so much. I hope so since it's a small town. I don't want to somehow be forced to go back home. I would call your future college and explain that you are estranged from your parents. Tell them your parents are threatening to call the college and make a scene. Update all your contact info. Ask that a note be put on your profile that you do not authorize them to make any changes or obtain any information. I have a friend who is the assistant to a college dean, and she has told us some sad stories. Get in front of this one. Last story. Am I the a-hole for deciding to stay with my dad because I don't want to spend time with my stepbrother? My parents are divorced, and they shared custody of me until 2 years ago. There was a fight over custody, and the judge decided that I, 16 male, could choose which house to stay in at any point if I wanted to, which meant neither of my parents won, and the decision was put in my hands. Until now, I had chosen to keep splitting the time between both houses, but a few weeks ago, I decided I wanted to live with my dad. So I told my mom I wasn't coming back to her house. She wasn't happy about it, obviously, and she hates my reason for making this decision. The TLDR version is, my mom's remarried and has 3 stepkids, my 2 stepsisters and my stepbrother. My stepbrother is neurodivergent, and he's super exhausting to be around. Because I'm the only other boy in the house, he fixated on me because of it. He's super misogynistic and says stuff that really hurts his sisters. I get so tired of him following me around and copying me and the things I do. There is no such thing as personal space with him. He's always in my room or in my face, and there are times I've come back from Dad's house and he slept in my room instead of his own. He's tried to make me eat like he does too, and he destroyed a bunch of snacks that were mine, that I even bought, because he didn't like them, and he wants us to like the same stuff. My mom can't talk to him because he doesn't listen to her at all. 1, because she's not his mom, and 2, because she's a woman. My stepbrother's dad coddles him to the extreme and always brings up how he has additional needs and challenges other kids have. We fight about his son a lot because he thinks I should love his kids and make sure I take extra care when being around his son. My breaking point was my stepbrother moving all his stuff into my room and deciding we'll share. He's 10 and already so in my face, and even still with that age gap, it's a no. And he's not even my brother. He's my stepbrother. And things are already weird enough. But his dad and my mom let him move his stuff and let him declare we'd share a room now. It was getting harder not to lash out at him, never physically. And I don't care about him in a way that I'd want to be the sibling who teaches him. I don't even consider him my actual sibling at all. If my mom's marriage was over tomorrow, I'd have nothing more to do with him. So yeah, I decided to move in with Dad. I told my mom exactly why, and she hated my reason. She said it's so unkind and will make my step-siblings feel so abandoned. She said my step-brother won't fully understand, and my step-sisters will lose the brother who isn't an a-hole to them. I told her none of them were my problem, and I won't make myself unhappy to help them. My mom asked how I could leave her so easily, and I said because her house is my worst nightmare, and I said it was going to all go from bad to worse if I finally lost it with that kid. My mom's still trying to change my mind, and she even tried to force my dad to invite my step-siblings over so we could all hang out. I don't want that, not even the girls. I just want to be left alone and to not deal with the BS my mom dragged me into. Am I the a-hole? Poor freaking daughters. Not only is your mom an a-hole, but Lord, your stepdad. He's in a few years gonna wonder where the heck his daughters went off to, because they gonna be out the door the second they turn 18, and your stepbrother either never gonna move out or be in jail with that mindset. Not the a-hole at all. I would have run the first chance I got to. I can see him ending up in prison long term. He says really disgusting things about girls and his sisters. There have been incidents in school with him and girls too. I hope you the best, and your mom's first priority should have been your mental well-being because you are her child. But instead, she wants you to be with her just as miserable. WTF. You deserve better than this. Yep, my mom stopped putting me first when she married the guy whose son was over the top clingy with me. And she never tried to make it better. She just expected me to tolerate it. Not the a-hole. You are a child and are not responsible for your stepbrother. You need to take care of yourself, and you're doing the right thing by taking yourself out of a toxic situation. I'm glad I had the option to do that. Without my dad, I'd be in a really uncomfortable place for another 2 years. Am I the a-hole for not making my kids share their things with their half-siblings and forcing my ex to move? I, 45 male, have 2 kids with my ex-wife Mel, 40 female, Emmy, 14 female, and Travis, 11 male. We divorced several years ago after a pretty nasty split. I'm not a high-income guy, but I have a family trust from my grandfather that provides a very comfortable lifestyle. It wasn't counted in the divorce, nor could it be touched for child support or alimony, which Mel still resents to this day. Mel never went back to work after the divorce. She used to be a teacher, and I let her live rent-free in one of my parents' properties so the kids could stay close. She's since remarried and has 2 more kids with her new husband, but money still seems to be a major issue in that household. Here's where the real issue starts. My kids have a much nicer life, for lack of a better term. They go to private school, get good gifts, recently a Switch 2, lacrosse gear, and a new MacBook, and take vacations with me and my family. Their half-siblings don't get the same, and it's led to a lot of jealousy and fighting. My kids refuse to share their stuff with their half-siblings anymore because things have been broken in the past, like a PS4 that mysteriously stopped working after a visit. They don't want their stuff ruined, and honestly, I don't blame them. Apparently, this caused yet another meltdown between Mel and her husband, and now she's banned the kids from bringing their gifts to her house at all. So now they're staying with me more, because why would they want to go somewhere they can't enjoy the things they own? This set off a domino effect. Mel is now filing for child support, which, again, she's allowed to do. And in response to everything, my parents told her she'll need to start paying rent in September. She's now claiming she can't afford it and that we're forcing her to move out of state, even though she can't take the kids with her. It's turning into a full-blown meltdown. But here's the thing, and I know this is harsh, at some point, she and her husband need to get it together and stop blaming me and my kids for their lack of resources. Life isn't always fair. Our kids have different opportunities, and that's not my responsibility to balance out. I'm not going to tell my kids they have to share everything just so their half-siblings don't feel bad. That's not how the world works. I could help more, sure, but why should I keep picking up the slack because she and her husband can't provide? I already let her live rent-free for years. I don't think I owe more than that. That said, maybe I'm being too blunt or dismissive. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Your ex has not gone back to work, remarried, and her new husband and kids live rent-free along with your kids in a property owned by your parents. Your ex wants you to subsidize her and her new kids. Not the a-hole, but you should go to court for majority custody. The environment at your ex's is toxic. Yeah, I'm kind of baffled that this woman never bothered to manage her own finances and expects her ex to give her money. And she's married. And what the heck did they do with their money if they didn't even need to pay rent? Me, I'd have a good-sized nest egg and be working on buying my own house. Ex obviously didn't take advantage of the extra resource she had while she had it. You need to go to court and get custody of your children. Their living situation with their mother is toxic and not good for them. You have done more than enough for your ex by allowing her to live rent-free in one of your parents' properties. If she goes to court, I don't think they will do too much because you are contributing by letting her live in the rent-free property, but it would be a good time for you to try and get custody. From what OP writes, it sounds like she was getting more via the free rent than she would from child support. That's based on the parent's income and standard of living. It sounds like his child supportable income is minimal, and their standard of living was based on what his parents could or can provide, rather than what OP could provide. So there's a high chance that she would receive far less than what she was receiving by way of free rent. Next story. Am I the a-hole for rejecting my father's attempt to be in my life after 20 years, and for not wanting to form a relationship with his young children? My father was never in my life. I'm 20 male. His parents and siblings were. I grew up seeing them once a week, and sometimes more if they had things going on. My mom was on good terms with them. But him? The first time I saw him was 6 months ago. He showed up at a cousin's wedding that I was also attending. Then I saw him again 2 weeks ago. He approached me at my grandmother's birthday party. He said he was sorry for not being there and that he wanted me to know he wanted to try and prove himself to me. He said he wanted me to give him a chance. I told him it was way too late and I wasn't interested. He asked if he could change my mind at all. I said no. Then he tried to tell me that he'd drive over once a week if I agreed and that he'd be there for me. He'd pay for stuff like he never did before. He offered to do anything, and I told him nothing could make up for 20 years of never seeing his face, of mom being forced to raise me alone. I said he didn't get to change his mind after all her hard work. He ran back to his wife looking dejected. His wife approached me just before I left, and she asked me to consider a relationship with her and my father's children. They have 3 kids under 8. She said they wanted to approach me both times they saw me, but they didn't feel like I wanted them to. She said my grandparents were willing to give us a chance to get to know each other. She said it would be great if we could be in each other's lives. I told her I understood she was looking out for her kids, but I'm an only child in the ways that count for me. I said I'd be friendly with her kids if I were speaking to them, but I didn't want a deeper relationship. She left it at that. Following the party, I heard from my 2 aunts, and they wanted to know why I was unwilling to work on any of this. They said they could understand my feelings toward my father, but they felt like I was throwing away a chance to have something I wanted as a kid, something I deserved. Their bigger issue was me refusing to form a relationship with those kids. They asked me what my reason for that was, and I told them I don't have a dad or a second parent. I only have mom. She only has me. Therefore, I'm an only child. I said they would be more like cousins, but I wasn't going to string them along and let them think I wanted to be their brother. There's been a lot of back and forth since with my aunts. They do not support my decision. They said whether I like it or not, I am not an only child, and while that is biologically true, the man raising them had nothing to do with me and had no part in making me who I am. The only parent I have is my mom. I can acknowledge I'm still related to these kids, but I cannot find it in me to care enough to form a relationship. I'll be friendly like I told their mom, but ultimately, I wouldn't ever go out of my way to spend time with or get to know them. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Shame on your aunts. It's ludicrous that they expect you to show up for his kids when he never showed up for you. And I can only imagine that it would be painful for you to see him raising those children when he never even saw you as a child. He's a sperm donor at best, and I highly doubt he paid child support. So as well as being absent, he's also a deadbeat. Where was their concern for a child not having their family around when you were the child in question? Did they harass your dad about his scummy behavior the way they're now harassing you? Just because you share genetics with these kids, that doesn't make them siblings. He never paid child support. My mom fought for it, and my grandparents actually funded her attorney, but he never seemed to have a job or was claiming welfare, so nothing could really be done. I know his family did talk to him back then, and then he moved and stopped talking to them until a year ago. But still, they could give him grief about it now instead of me. Not the a-hole. Your sperm donor blew it 20 years ago by running out on his wife and baby. He doesn't deserve any chances. Besides, I notice how young their kids are and can't help but think that they are using this as an attempt to get a free babysitter. It could be that, or it could be his wife just wants her kids to have a relationship with me. It doesn't really influence my answer though, but regardless, I would never be a prick to kids and they did nothing wrong. Their parents could save them a lot of heartache if they don't make promises on my behalf. I know some people are awful for that. I'm wondering when the wife found out about you, since they weren't in contact with his family until a year ago. She might be a decent person and was not thrilled when she found out what he did. She seems like she is both making overtures and trying to respect your wishes. It's possible he's trying to do damage control on his own marriage. And that's why your family is trying to talk you into having contact with the kids. They need to back off, but it would make more sense if wife and kids are good people, and she was really upset when she found out what he did. It's possible, like she did back off after we talked. She didn't keep pressing the issue like he did, and she didn't try to shame me. So I won't rule that out, and I don't want to think the worst of her. My interaction with her wasn't terrible. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to let my older sister stay with me after what she did to my brother when we were younger? So I, 23 female, live alone in a small apartment that I've worked really hard for. I keep to myself, pay my bills, and try not to bother anyone. My older sister, 28 female, recently asked to stay with me for a few weeks because she's going through a breakup and doesn't want to be alone. She said it would only be temporary, but I told her no, and now half my family is calling me heartless. But here's the thing. When we were growing up, my sister hated our little brother who is 2 years younger than me. So he was around 10 when this happened. I honestly believe she bullied him. She'd scream at him over nothing, blame him for things she did, and my parents always believed her. One time, she locked him outside in the middle of winter for being annoying and left him there for almost an hour while she played video games inside. I'll never forget how red his hands were when I let him in. I begged my mom to do something, but she brushed it off as sibling fights. It wasn't just one incident. My brother used to cry to me at night because he thought no one in the family liked him. When I finally moved out, I took him in a few weekends at a time just to give him peace. We're super close now. He is 21 and doing well, but to this day he has zero contact with our sister. She never apologized or even acknowledged how she treated him. So when she asked to stay with me recently, all I could think about was how cold and cruel she was. I told her no, and she went off, said I was punishing her for childhood stuff, called me cold, selfish, and dramatic. Our mom took her side, as usual, and said I was letting my grudge break apart the family. But I'm not holding a grudge. I just don't want to live with someone who made my brother feel worthless for most of his childhood and has never once owned up to it. So, am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. How many members of your family supporting her have offered to take her in? What goes around comes around. Not the a-hole. And you handled it way more gracefully than I ever could. Yep, we've got another golden child. Do not ever let her in. She is vile and vicious. Honestly, I don't think you're the a-hole here. You've been carrying a lot of weight seeing how your sister treated your brother, and it's not something that just goes away because time passed. What she did was really cruel, And the fact she never apologized or acknowledged it makes it even harder to just welcome her into your home. You're protecting your peace and standing up for your brother, which is more than fair. Family can be messy, but that doesn't mean you have to sacrifice your own well-being or let someone toxic back into your life. You set boundaries, and that's okay. Agree with this comment. Clearly, the sister in question has a history of toxicity. You don't want that in your home, not the a-hole. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister-in-law her son's speech impediment might be because of the way she talks to him? My husband's sister has 3 kids, 6, 4, and a 1-year-old. I don't know how to explain it, but she coddles them a lot. Like, she still spoon-feeds the 2 younger kids, and sometimes spoon-feeds the older one if he doesn't want to eat. It's really weird for me, especially because my parenting style has always been encouraging independence. My own child is too, and she eats by herself because I've never spoon-fed her before. I just added that as an example of how her parenting is. She also baby talks really badly. For example, 6-year-olds, I gonna go store. Mama gonna go store and get you more, okay? This yucky, this big people food. You not like it. It makes me inwardly cringe because she also does this annoying baby voice to all the kids, including the 6-year-old. My mother-in-law does it too when she speaks to the kids, but I asked her to talk to my child normally. Her oldest has a speech impediment. He doesn't stutter or anything. He speaks clearly, in a baby voice. His grammar is worse than my 2-year-old's, and he repeats words a lot. He speaks exactly how his mom talks to him. We were together the other night, and the 6-year-old was trying to explain something to my husband, and my husband just stared at him, looked at his sister, and said that he couldn't understand anything the 6-year-old was saying. His sister just laughed it off and explained what he was trying to say, but my husband was concerned and brought up the fact that he's going to 1st grade and talks like this. His sister just said he'll grow out of it, and that speech therapy won't do anything. I couldn't help myself and spoke up, saying that maybe if she encouraged proper language and spoke to him in a normal voice, it would help. She and my mother-in-law did not like that. They got angry and told me that I'm just way too harsh of a parent and that I'm a horrible person. I left in tears, and my husband says that while he agrees with me, maybe it wasn't my place to bring it up. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. They always shoot the messenger, but someone needed to step in and do something, so this kid doesn't get obliterated into being the weird lonely kid for all of school. And the fact that they immediately got defensive and said OP is a horrible person, OP didn't go to personal attacks and name-calling-like behavior. This poor kid is gonna get made fun of. Kids can be mean, not the a-hole OP. If she thinks you are harsh, wait until the 1st grade teachers get a hold of her. Not the a-hole. Someone has to say it. My thoughts exactly. The teacher will think it's the child until the teacher hears the mom talking to the child like that. Then the mom will find out speech therapy is part of school, and it does help. Reading teacher and dyslexia practitioner here. He is going to have all kinds of trouble in school. Unfamiliar words for reading, writing, and speaking because of that. Let's not even talk about social skills. I could go into detail, but he is going to struggle. For how long depends on the child. Hopefully, he will pick up the language quickly once he is in school and is aware of how to communicate with his peers. Did he already attend kindergarten? If so, how did that go? I'm not giving a judgment. I understand it can be hard to stand by when someone's behavior is massively hindering a child. That said, talk to your husband about how he could best approach it using facts, not opinions on how his language will affect him academically and socially.